is interactive you're going to get. I'm Trevor. This is Juan, and this is the most interactive sports podcast you'll ever be a part of. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Sports Dynasty Podcast. This is your
interactive
podcast.
3 times.
I did. Yeah, I don't know why I did that, but it was good. This is your podcast, by the way. So
We've done better.
We've done better. This is not one of ours. It's okay. How you guys doing, buddy?
A lot of technical problems before this. That's why I'm sweating in anger. I'm trying to calm down.
Well, it'll be okay, but it's all you start right now, so let's get to it.
I know, it works, so I should be...
Thank goodness. Well, first things first, do what you always do. Like, share, subscribe. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartradio, Google Play Radio, Stitcher Radio, and Podcast Dynasty on Twitter. Make sure that you rate us and comment on iTunes so we can go up there with all the elite podcasts out there. Also, we have a Facebook Live, a Facebook group called the Sports Dynasty Podcast on Facebook, and we're on Instagram at Sports Dynasty Podcast. So yeah, let's get to it. We are going to continue the NFL guide for 2020. The AFC East is here. We're looking forward to it right now. And
if you want a New York City update, apparently there was shots fired 4 blocks away from here.
That too. Yeah, you saw like a flash in the screen. That was Citizens app. Yeah, apparently this crime is so crazy.
That's why we just heard the police ride through here a couple seconds ago.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor de Blasio.
Well, maybe we'll let you know we're alive or not in the next hour. We'll see.
Thank you, Mayor de Blasio. The streets is definitely much safer. Anyway.
Now I have to edit that out. Great.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Anyway. All right, let's do this, man.
All right. We already wasted like 3 minutes of your life. All right. The AFC East is what we're doing today. Last week we did the NFC East, which was a great beginning to the series.
Yeah, check it out.
Had a great interview with a Giants fan who was very insightful and very, very smart and knew his football. So again, like we always say, for the remaining divisions, which is everything that's not an East division now, you guys want to be part of it, I almost went like this. You could do that if you want. Let us know. Simple as that.
We can make it happen.
Very simple to do that. You'll see in an interview at the end, you will see more smart football fans who may not have the journalism degree or the Hall of Fame resume like some stupid, journalists do in TV. But you are important, or I can argue more important than they are.
Yes.
All right, so let's stop babbling. Let me stop babbling. The AFC East, we're always going from worst to first, so we're starting with the Miami Dolphins, who didn't have the best start last year. And when I mean not the best, I mean it was historically disgusting. But they actually kicked a lot of butt mid-November to December and finished the season really, really strong. So to capitalize on that and to make things better, their off-season grade, they didn't really lose anyone, to be honest. And again, they had a roster full of people who didn't belong in college football, let alone the NFL. So it's very simple to not lose anyone when everybody's worth less than copper. But they did sign Kyle Van Noy from New England, who had an 84.2 PFF grade. Also from New England, Ted Karras, the backup center, who actually started last year because David Andrews was gone, who had a 66.5 PFF grade, which is not bad. Cowboys lead corner, ex-Cowboys lead corner, Byron Jones with a 76.1 grade, good. Bills edge rusher, Shaq Lawson, 67.9 grade. I want to say Kansas City edge rusher who wasn't really playing much in that the line, if I remember correctly, Emmanuel Agba, champion by the way, 70.1 grade, and running back Jordan Howard from Philly, 69 PFF grade, which is decent pickups. Got 2 New Englanders, so we're really going to know how the culture works because it's similar culture to what is in the Patriots. Byron Jones was a really good corner. 76 grade is not bad at all. It's actually damn near elite. So really, really good. And Shaq Lawson's pretty decent too. They picked up a lot of decent players. Yeah. Not bad. They also traded for Matt Breida. from his 49ers.
Well, I thought it was very, very interesting how they did that.
Yeah, 68th grade. Well, he, I believe, got injured and never saw the field again because Mostert started destroying everyone. So, all right. So the real additions, which is pretty interesting, is they hired Chan Gayle as their offensive coordinator. For as long as I can remember, I've known that name. He coached in the 80s. That's how long it's been. Almost 40 years. He coached as John Elway's offensive coordinator at the end of the 80s, when John Elway was pretty much established at that point. Then he was the Steelers offensive coordinator in 96-97, and that's interesting because his quarterback, I want to say, was Cordell Stewart, and we all know that he is not good. But you have to build the offense a certain way in order to have a person like that play quarterback. So he knows how to get creative, which is good for Tua. He also was the head coach of Dallas at 98-99, pretty forgettable. Or unforgettable if you're Dallas fan. Dolphins offensive coordinator from 2000-2001. Bills head coach in 10 and 12, which is where I remember him from, with Mr. Fitzpatrick. You remember that was arguably Fitzpatrick's best years. That was his head coach. And Jets offensive coordinator 15-16, again, Fitzpatrick. And who's in the team now? Fitzpatrick. All right. Josh Boyer is the official defensive coordinator now because they've lost theirs before. He called plays last year, but now he moved up to actually having the title of defense coordinator. And he was a Patriots cornerbacks coach from 2012 to 18, so he does have 3 Super Bowls under his belt. And you see how ridiculous the secondary in New England is now. He did coach Stephon Gilmore for 2 years. Should I go? Yeah, the draft. There's not much else. They had 6 picks in the first 3 rounds alone. So they drafted Tua with the 5th overall pick. Had a 90 overall grade. That's obviously from Alabama. I don't think I have to tell you guys that. They had drafted offensive tackle Austin Jackson from USC at 74 grade, which is okay. Noah Igbenogany, I think that's how you say his name. I don't know if that's how you say his name. But the cornerback from Auburn, 71 grade. And I have to pause, like, these names, and those are all in the first round. They had 3 picks in the first round. Those are the 3 picks. Then they have guard Robert Hunt with an 87 grade before he got injured. He lost like half the year for injury, but before he got hurt, he had an 87 grade. And Raekwon Davis, Alabama, is a nose tackle from Alabama at 81 grade in the second round. And then they drafted safety Brandon Jones from Texas, 74.3. So, with the roster that they had, it is impossible for them not to improve. Basically. So, just off the strength, this grade I gave them, just to give a little bit of criticism, I gave them a B-. You couldn't be worse than that. So, I mean, they improved every person that they drafted and bought. So, it's like, how can I give them any less than a B-? They literally had... Coming into the season, they had an almost 16 roster, and they somehow won 5 games. So with a improved roster, who knows what coach's name?
Brian Flores. Flores.
Brian Flores. Yeah, I may have forgotten, but at least I know his name.
Yeah, Brian Flores.
Thank you. Brian Flores. See what he does with it. Dude, I'm still pissed off about this mic not working for the last half an hour. Sorry, guys. Just take over, dude.
Anyway,
I'm not in here right now.
No problem. So there's obviously not really a concern, but there's a storyline coming out of Miami as far as like, who's going to be the starting quarterback for this team. Now, obviously, they drafted Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama, the number 5 pick, and a lot of people think that he's obviously the future. Obviously, he's the future of the team, but will he start week 1? I think with Fitzpatrick having a pretty strong end of the year, fighting. Them Dolphins teams were very strong 5-11 last year, very strong 5-11.
And Fitzpatrick didn't have a broken hip. Just saying.
True indeed. Oh, I'm about to get to that too. Thank you for reminding me. Also, Tua obviously, it's no secret, has suffered from a very severe hip injury in college, which ultimately lowered his draft stock. He would have been the number 1 pick if he not got hurt. probably would have been the number one pick, more or less. My opinion.
Yeah, because Burrow just
was
this
came out,
everyone's
this came out
ass.
of nowhere.
So
This came out of nowhere. But so me personally, I would probably expect to see Fitzpatrick in the first week 1 through the first month of the season.
Especially since news came out today that it's basically gonna be no preseason.
Yeah.
So how is Tua gonna pick up the playbook with no practice?
I agree. So obviously,
Fitzpatrick
go with the veteran, and then it's gonna be very interesting with Josh Rosen being on the team as well.
Yeah, he's on the team.
Yeah, he'll literally be the number 3 guy in the rotation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what do you do with him? You know what I'm saying? Especially, I feel really bad for him because it's like, he had a really, really bad hand in Arizona, and now he has a really, really bad hand in Miami now. So it's like, now you drafted to a tackle, I've always like, damn, so Josh Rosen really has no chance whatsoever.
I will say this though, if you got passed on twice, there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry. Like, he may have been unlucky, but at the end of the day, 2 teams passed on you and 2 teams went tops in the draft and took a quarterback.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's something wrong with him. It's not just that he was unlucky. You suck somewhere, bro. Like, I'm sorry. It's just that simple. So he is a massive bust. If anyone didn't know that, you know it now. He is a massive bust. He was, I believe, 10th overall.
He was
right? I think it was 10th.
9th overall. 9th
was even worse. So yeah, you're a bust. It's just that simple.
So with that being said, it's very interesting when it comes. I think Fitzpatrick will be the starter, and then whenever, obviously not gonna have a preseason, so obviously Tua will be learning on the fly from learning from the bench, and obviously watching Fitzpatrick. Like I said, Fitzpatrick is a journeyman, but a very stable and reliable journeyman in this league. He's been in the league so long, so he'll benefit learning from him. All he needs to do is stay healthy. So that's my take on it. Me personally, as Juan said before, this team has added a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. That there's no reason why there can't be better than a 5-11 last year. Last year, the 5-11, but they were a strong 5-11. They went into Foxborough and beat New England and literally took away the 2 seed from them. They, like I said, they have a culture there, which is great. They have a culture. Ryan Flores, I believe, that's the right guy, and they can only improve from it. I think, for me, with the schedule they have here, it's a 7-9 schedule. A 7-9 record, in my opinion. I think they win 7 games.
7-9 schedule was fine to say too.
So it's only room to improve from there, and I think from there we probably see Tua within week 5 or 6 when they inevitably give him the reins. So we'll see.
All right. So the track to success that I have, since the coach is already established in the team, what the key to me is both sides of trenches, defense and offensive line, have to improve. And they have to improve drastically. They were by and far the worst aspects of the team last year. I watched tape. I watched them play the New York Jets when the Jets should have lost. That's the second time they played.
Oh, God, that was bad.
Yeah. They couldn't get pressure. They, as in Miami, couldn't get pressure on Darnold at all. The Jets are a bottom 5 offensive line, and they look like the Great Wall of Dallas when they played Miami's defensive line. They need to improve, which is why I said earlier, they literally don't have anywhere to go but up when it comes to roster improvement.
I agree.
Because that's how bad they are. The flip-flop, the Jets have a bottom 5 defensive line also. They look like the 07 Giants playing against Fitzpatrick. Patrick looked like a running back in that game because he couldn't step back in the pocket. He kept getting rushed. Again, they have nowhere to go but up. So you should see drastic improvement. Drastic doesn't mean they're going to be good. Drastic just means they're not going to be historically bad. That's what drastic improvement means. So they're still probably going to be bad, but not historically bad like they were. My gosh, which would then establish their run game, which is what I think Brian Flores is heading towards. Because with a good run game, this is an old school, my way of thinking, because the scientific data analysts don't think this is true. But when you have a good run game, it's just a play action. That's an old school thing, but the scientific data guys don't believe in that. But yeah, So with that, and New England's offensive game, primarily with Tom Brady, primarily ran with play action. He was one of the best play action quarterbacks you probably ever see. So they trying to establish that in Miami. So with Breida, I have their names, because there's actually 3 running backs. They drafted one. With Breida, with Jordan Howard, I'm forgetting names. I'm really not here like that right now. And they did draft another one though, but I didn't write his name down. But they have 3 of them. They're trying to have like a little 3-headed monster. They're gonna try to use them to be able to set up the play action. The secondary, again, they did get Brian Jones. They drafted a new corner. They gel, again, New England's way. They want a strong secondary. They gel, their defense will more than likely be set. They'll go from like 32 to like 18, like that. And they may not be the biggest improvement to but 32 to 18 is huge. So there you go. So those are the basic things to do. And obviously, Chan Gayle and Tagovailoa click, which I believe they will. Chan Gayle, even though he has a very, I don't want to say complex, but like a creative offensive mind, it's usually simple for people to pick up. If Cordell Stewart can play okay with him, who can't? It's like, come on now. So, Lally's prediction, you already said 7-9. I'm going one lower. I said 6-10. And the biggest reason why I'm going 6-10 is because I know they're not going to be able to get anything together probably until mid-season or later. Because they have so many new names that they're not going to be able to get it well, at least until sometime in November to me. And then they're going to have glimpses of the Miami team of the future that may actually pose a problem for the AFC East. So, but I actually have them starting off 2-2 because I think their first few games are easy as crap. Like, they're going to beat the Jacksonville at week 3, and then they're going to beat... I'm going to give them a Seattle win because Seattle loves to drop games like this, and it's at Miami. They love to drop games like this. When they should be beating the crap out of you, they don't. So they'll, especially September, so they'll drop that one. I give Miami that win. Then they'll be 4-6 by their bye week at week 11, and there's going to be something very interesting. Apparently, 3 out of the 4 teams in the AFC East have a week 11 bye week. Oh, like, what the heck is that? But New England gets 6. Whatever. Anyway, they'll beat the Chargers week 7 and the Jets at week 10. But then they'll finish 2-4, beating New England because they always do at week 15, and then they'll beat the Raiders the week after. So they'll wind up being 6-10. That's my prediction for them. All right, let's move on. 20 minutes later, the New York Jets. This won't take very long.
Yeah, it won't take very long at all.
Yeah, you guys already know where this is going. All right, so they lost Ron B. Anderson, 68 grade PFF, but he's one of the better deep threats in the NFL. So that's what he does, and that's all he does. They signed a lot of one-year deals. They kind of went cheap. Like, for example, Brashad Perriman, they got going to be replacing Robbie Anderson in his role. He actually got a 72 grade, so apparently he's a little better according to PFF. They signed players like that. A lot of one-year rentals. And this is going to be the GM, Joe Douglas' first real offseason. Remember, he got the last GM got fired right after the draft and after free agency. So he didn't have. So the team that they had last year, he had nothing to do with. Now, what he's actually building a team. The Jets. That's basically all they did for free agency wise. Know that they didn't do anything else. So they drafted Mekhi Becton, 83 overall grade in PFF from Louisville. Wide receiver Denzel Mims from Baylor, 81.9 grade. Ashton Davis, defensive back from California, 72 grade at the school, not the actual state. But in 2018, he did have an 88-point grade, so they don't know which version of him is going to show up, which is a question. And a defensive end, Bry Zuniga from Florida, an 87.5 grade. If you guys haven't noticed, I only put the bigger draft picks. I'm not putting all 10 or 13 on. Come on, bro. So especially when most of them coming from the 6th and 7th rounds, I'm not wasting my time with that. So the first 2 picks are going to be good because they needed a lineman very, very, very badly. So they got Mekhi Becton, and then they needed a wide receiver very, very, very badly. So they got Denzel Mims from the 2nd round. So they did good there. They did have a lot of injuries last year on the defensive side of the ball. I don't remember the last time I seen CJ Mosley put on a uniform, and that was their big free agent signing last year.
Waste of money.
Waste of money. I won't go that far yet.
I mean, if they're gonna pay that much money, First of all, at least it's not bad as Tremaine Johnson was.
We're gonna talk about that. That's
awful.
funny. That's funny. We're gonna talk about
awful. Gee, that's the waste of money.
But
CJ Mosley's a good player. You know what I'm saying? But injuries, unfortunately, I mean, obviously you have no control over that. But when they're paying that much money, man, you need to produce, and you being injured doesn't help. So,
But that's what happened with their defense, and they still ranked pretty well. Actually, I believe they were top 15 on defense last year with all the injuries. So, hey, they need to fix the offensive line in a serious way. They signed Frank Gore for some reason, so they have Le'Veon Bell and Frank Gore as their backfield and a rookie. They need to fix that and fix that as soon as possible because I feel bad for Sam Darnold. Even though he's not perfect, trust me, watching tape. He's let me see if I can find a basketball example that's gonna piss you guys off. You guys know J.R. Smith, right? Not Cleveland J.R. Smith, New York J.R. Smith.
He actually played. When
he is the type of player he was because in Cleveland he's just trash. But in New York he's literally like this. That's J.R. Smith. He'll shoot 7 threes on you and put up 30 points one day. Then next day he'll put up 2 and go like 1 for 15. Like that's Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is that. One day he'll put up 303 touchdowns and have like a 150 passer rating. Then next day he'll play New England, throw 4 interceptions and not even hit 90 yards.
And 2 pick sixes.
Yeah, like that's Sam Darnold. I'm using New England is unfair, of course it is, but that I'm going from his high to his low, and he just jumps between the high and low. There is no middle ground for Sam Darnold, and that is his biggest problem. 0 consistency in Sam Darnold. 0. Are the Jets helping him? No, not even a little bit. But at the end of the day, when you're drafted, 2nd overall or something like that, 3rd, I forget what pick he was 2018, but. You cannot be playing like that. It doesn't matter what your core is at the end of the day. You can't be, come on. Like, how are you going to tease everybody but then be trashed the next week? Like, you can't do that. That's Sam Darnold. But that's not the biggest problem with the Jets. Not a little bit. The players are not the problem with the Jets. The problem is Adam Gase.
Our good friend Adam.
Yeah, and the front office of the New York Jets. The reason why you make fun of Jets fans all the time is not because of your players. It's because of your stupid decisions when it comes to your front office and coaching staff. Adam Gase, the same guy who ran Jarvis Landry and Damian Williams, mind you, Damian Williams is a Super Bowl champion, had a big part of that Super Bowl win and was arguably, even though he wasn't, arguably MVP of Super Bowl. That guy was supposed to be in Miami, but apparently he let it go and look what he did. Jarvis Landry wound up getting 1,000 yards receiving and God knows how many receptions in Cleveland. Mind you, they sucked, but he still went to the Pro Bowl. Mind you, the 1 year or 2 years that he played with Adam Gase, he had career lows. This is a Jarvis Landry we're talking about here. A top, I would say at least top 25 receiver. At least. Very good player. Adam Gase ran him out of town. Same guy what did Kalichi Assembly happen? He almost got his arm amputated because of him, because they didn't want to see doctors because of him. It was because of Adam Gase. Because he's supposed to communicate between Kalichi and the medical staff to see what's going on. He didn't do any of that. He's like, it's not my problem. And look what happened with Kalichi. Mind you, Kalichi is a good offensive lineman. They could have used him. That's the coach that you have. He's not even close to a people person. If you're not a people person, how the hell can you be a coach if you're not a people person? If you can't communicate, how can you be a coach? That's his problem. He's a massive, I almost said a bad word. He's a massive jerk. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to use that clean word. And it's well known throughout the league that that's what he is. And as long as that is your coach, you will continue to do nothing. That's your problem.
I don't think it matters what coach they put there. It's what coach was put there. Let's be honest here. They finished 7-9 last year, and people think, "Oh, that's an improvement." It's 7-9.
They did it the year before.
No, 7-9. The last game of the season, you beat the Bills. I beat them 6-0 when they already clinched a playoff spot already. You faced their third stringers. Stop it. They won the last 2 games. Really? Like, y'all didn't really do anything.
You beat Miami when you had a 14-0 lead on them, was starting to beat the crap out of them, and then they almost field goaled you to death. You guys disappeared in the second half. That is where you lost. It wasn't for a bad call that put y'all closer to make the field goal. To beat Miami, y'all would have went overtime.
Yeah, true.
That is what your December was. So they finished 7-9. Well, so what? And then they played against garbage teams. They didn't play against anybody crazy and beat them. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the second, third, fourth string Bills. Like, this is who you're trying to hype up? No, man.
I mean, at least trying to get beat by 70 by Baltimore in Week 16. I don't know why he was on prime time.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, they might as well. At least just score some points. But nah, in all seriousness, there's no. Adam Gase may be a problem, but really doesn't make a difference. As long as the Johnson brothers are in charge of this team, y'all will go nowhere. Y'all continue to be in mediocrity as always. Because at the end of the day, they have no idea how to run a football team. And the fact that they have no good judgment whatsoever. You hire Adam Gase, who was complete trash in Miami, and y'all not only gave him the keys to the kingdom, but at one point he was the GM, making general manager decisions. What has he done to be able to get that type of power? Like, he's Bill Belichick.
You want to know more dysfunction in the front office?
I do.
What's hilarious is that Woody Johnson, the primary owner, wasn't even the one that hired him.
It was Christopher Johnson.
Yeah, it was it was the next in command. Woody Johnson is like an ambassador or something.
For the UK.
Yeah. So he was doing that while all this was going on last offseason. So Woody Johnson wasn't even part of this. I believe Woody Johnson's coming back, I think, this year. So we'll see what happens with your owner and those guys now in the front office. Really that's the Jets.
Anyway,
all right.
Hold on. Before we go to the Jets, I do want to point out that, yes, the New York Jets had one of the worst offensive lines last year. They gave up the third most sacks in the league last year. So, but they did improve. They did strike early with Mekhi Becton in the draft. Now, what's interesting is what's going to happen with the guard position, because obviously, Becton's going to be tackled already. Alex Lewis, who's a guard there, probably got that deal on lock. What's interesting is, obviously, Brian Winters has been in the Jets for like years and everything. He's owed $7 million this year. He's getting up there in age and everything. You have they signed Greg Van Roten from Carolina. He's 30 years old, but he's like on a 3-year deal. So he may challenge Brian Winters for that starting spot, or if they don't feel like cutting Brian Winters at all, because they'll clear $7 million if they do. But I don't see them doing that anyway. So we'll see if they're able to do that. But for the most part, the offensive line has to get better. Me personally, I don't know why they had Frank Gore for. I don't see what was the purpose of getting Frank Gore.
I don't know why teams keep picking him up. He gets like 2 yards to carry.
I don't see why.
I don't get it.
I don't see why at all. Because it's like, if the offensive line can't make holes, what's he really gonna do? And then Le'Veon Bell, which I kind of feel bad, but I don't feel bad for him because you took less money to come to the Jets.
Could have went to Pittsburgh.
You could stay in Pittsburgh, but you end up messing everything up for yourself. That was just dumb, in my opinion. It doesn't matter. He's like, you have all-pro running back in the backfield with Sam Darnold. Doesn't make any difference if you can't get no holes open through. So I expect this to be a disaster. I have them finishing last at 5-11, and that's saying a lot. So this is not going to work at all. I think Adam Gase is going to be there forever, though. So we'll see. But don't spend much from Jets this year. They're still going to be hot garbage.
I'm going 6-10. They're going to start 0-4, and then they're going to beat Arizona because why not? And then they're going to beat the Chargers because why not?
It's the Chargers. Why not?
And somehow, some way, because the Jets always find a way to do this, they'll wind up taking one from Buffalo because why not? They always find a way to pull some crap up their butt. Like, you already know how they are. They're the same thing they've been the last 2 years, and there's nothing's going to change. So they're going to end up being 3-7 by their bye week at week 11. That's the second team. Then they'll beat Miami because, of course, and then they'll beat the Raiders, of course. Then they'll keep losing, and then they'll beat Cleveland at week 16 just to be the jerk to keep them off the playoff. So, yeah, that's going to be their season. They're going to be spoiler at the end and complete utter trash beforehand. Till they fix their front office woes.
Expect more from this.
Mm-hmm.
Jets, man. It makes me feel really good.
I don't really care about them.
I know why I feel. I don't want to like it's like, you know, especially since we live here in New York. It's like, listen, man, y'all just. It makes me mad because like they really talk about 2010 like it happened like yesterday. Like 20, we beat the Patriots. Who cares?
That's cool. Since then, Patriots won 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, so you haven't done nothing since.
And what
then.
have you done? You made the playoffs no times actually after that.
You haven't.
Shut up.
10 years.
But anyway, I'll take this out. Anyway.
Alrighty. This is our AFC East special guest. This is Anthony. He's a big Jet fan. So tell him how you feeling.
What's up, guys? Well, I'm thinking my Jets, you know, off season, you know, they did a couple of moves, but you know, Darnold has to play. He's got to play, you know, what I'm saying, top level of his game. Because if he comes out like he did last year and he lays a bomb, forget it. We ain't going nowhere. You already know.
What do you think about how the Jets did with their draft? You know, Joe Douglas getting his first crack at building the team. Obviously, he was hired right after last year from when they did they draft last year. So, what is your expectations for him? How do you think he did for your draft and for your offseason?
I think he did very well. I just think you know we have to. You know, he's got to address Jamal Adams. You know, sometimes that's got to get, you know, that's like number one right now. That's got to get done. As far as his draft was you know, all his off-season moves for me were excellent. I mean, there was a few questionable ones where I just think, you know, I think we should have got a couple of more receivers, but you know, that's just my personal opinion.
Okay.
As far as Jamal Adams, they need to straighten that out ASAP. I mean, I hope they can work it out. You know, let's see what happens.
Okay.
I'm sure y'all do want that to work out. He's like probably the best safety in the NFL right now. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's looking kind of crazy right now because of all of Woody Johnson's you know, comments, whatever. So who knows? So we'll see. But if we can't get him, if he has to be traded, then we should get at least 2 number ones. A number one for this year and number one for next year.
That makes sense.
I would take that for him right now. You know, I mean, and I wouldn't trade him to Dallas. I'll trade him to the team. Well, I'll trade him to the worst team I can trade him.
I'll just put a dolphin there.
But yeah.
We'll see. I mean, you know what? I think right now we have the potential to be the best team in the division, being that Mr. Brady is no longer resides in the East anymore. I think we got a shot.
So, what do you think about your new wide receiver, Denzel Mims, the rookie?
He's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of upside, but you know how it is with just receivers. They can't stay healthy.
Yeah, that's true.
Quincy Enunwa.
Yeah, Quincy Enunwa. He's still the team.
Listen, he should have been traded. First of all, you know, he seems, you know, his hands suck.
I know.
He can't take a hit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, but then again, it also goes down to Darnold. Darnold, you know what I'm saying? You know, Darnold throws the passes and, you know, it gets his guys killed because he throws the balls in, you know, bad spots. So
let's get this out the way now. What is your entire opinion on Sam Darnold?
If he doesn't do good this year, he's out. He's got to be out. You know, right now, that's it. I mean, it's going to be his 3rd year.
Coming up, yes.
You know, if after this year he's not doing what he's supposed to, you know what? That ship has sailed. That's my personal opinion.
Why do you think he has to go away so soon after just 3 years? He does have a 5-year contract, and you probably already know that the roster isn't necessarily the best. And I don't know. I have another question afterwards. Let's go with that.
Well, all right. Darnold, you know, I don't, you know, how can I say this? I'm rooting for him because he's my quarterback. You know, I want him to win. You know, he wasn't the, you know, I really didn't really want him when he got picked. Like, you know,
I was going to ask that in a minute. Okay. How did you feel when he got drafted?
You know, it wasn't. I really didn't. He wasn't my number one pick, but it is what it is. He's our guy now, so I'm pulling for him. if he can do something, I'm happy. You know, I mean, realistically speaking, I'm going to talk crap all day and say my Jets going to win a Super Bowl, even though they're probably not. But this guy right there is laughing because his team is impressed by teams at time. That's all right.
It's cool. Also, we have to address the elephant in the room. Adam Gase.
Yeah, that's my next question.
Adam Gase, the coach. I know a lot of Jet fans are not too thrilled that him being on the team. And since you will be the first Jet fan on the show, even I know the answer to the question, but for everybody listening, what's your take on him?
I wish we would have got McCarthy.
Yeah,
it would make sense.
You know what? I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. You know what? He beat your Patriots when he was in Miami. He did something right. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But if after this year he don't do anything, he's got to go.
But that happens every year, regardless who the coach is, though.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, are you a Miami fan?
No, he's a Patriot fan.
Are you a Patriot? Oh, you know the ball.
Yeah, I'm just don't go crazy like him and the rest of them do.
I go crazy. Yeah.
I try to stay professional.
Let me ask you guys a question. You guys are Patriot fans.
Okay.
Now, me personally, I'm just looking for myself. When Tom Brady was a Patriot, obviously I hated his guts because he's always.
I can't believe that sentence came out of his mouth. Still, it happened like 3 months ago, but that when he was a Patriot. Wow. Anyway, continue.
But now, in a crazy, crazy way, I find myself rooting for him and Brunk down in Tampa. I don't know why.
That's interesting.
Well, you know what it is. I take it personally. It wasn't ever Brady. I was mad at Brady because he was down there with Belichick. My real beef is with Belichick.
Interestingly enough, I get that a lot.
I can't forgive him for that.
Still, after all these years?
Yeah. Forget it. We have beef. I will fight him on sight.
True fan.
All right, so what is your take on the rest of the division? Obviously, Buffalo got much better on paper. Miami has improved on both sides of the ball. What is your take on how this division will, how competitive this division will be?
Go
ahead.
I think Buffalo is going to be, it's going to be a problem this year.
Okay.
I think they've gotten better, so I think they're going to be a problem. I think just going to be number one. They'll be number two. They're probably going to battle it out for the division. I'm not even giving Miami a shot. Miami's done.
Oh, interesting.
They can just hang it up.
Interesting.
I'm not even giving Miami a shot.
Wait, who did he say is number one?
He said, who said number one again?
I said Jets number one, Buffalo number two. I'm a little biased, just a little.
It's okay. Listen, that's all you have to listen.
That's a serious prediction, or you're just being a Jet?
No.
He's being a
okay.
Jet.
I'm just talking crap as a Jet fan. No, honestly, right now, if we have to go right now, from last year's success, I think Buffalo might be number one.
That's fair.
They got the best roster. They have the most continuity. Why not? Definitely.
Yeah, I think they're number one, and then. But you know what happens in Buffalo? Buffalo comes out good, and then they die towards the middle of the year. So, see what happens.
Okay. That's what's up.
And let's see if they can stay healthy. That's another problem they had. Keeping bodies healthy. Like I said, Miami's done. I don't know. The Patriots. You know what? You can't count the Patriots out. So, all right. You know what? Right now, I have to be honest. Like I said, I took a lot of shit. I'm a Jets fan. I'm going to go Buffalo number one, Patriots 2, Jets 3. And then Miami at the bottom of the thing.
That's pretty much what he had.
So, with your 1 and 2, do they both hit the playoffs or just the one? What do you think? Do you think the Patriots might be able to sneak a wild card? Because there are 3 spots in the wild card picture now. There's 7 teams going to playoffs, not 2. Not 6.
Yeah. You know what? You can't count the Patriots out. You can't count them out. This year's going to be basically, we're going to see if Belichick made the team or if Brady made the team. If that was
that's going to be a big storyline. Yeah.
I honestly think McDaniels is still a coordinator, right?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So they got a shot. They
do.
I mean, I mean, like I said, Buffalo won them number two. The Jets. Let's see if the Jets can do something this year. I'm thinking Jets might go maybe 10-6. No, I'm
I'm
joking. I'm
about to say
joking.
so what the
I'm
other two
joking.
are gonna be. They're gonna be 10.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't know. We'll see. You know what? I'll give them 8-8.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad. That's not
I'll
bad.
give them an 8.
That's doable.
Maybe they'll back into the wild card spot. Maybe.
That's possible.
Very possible,
It is the
actually.
AFC. It's very possible they get a 7th seed
Yeah.
or whatever with 8-8.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean,
That's
I mean
basically
Donald
it,
Trump
though.
was like, huh?
That's it. The we'll see is the only thing we can say, especially how the crazy times there are right now. We don't, and there's basically no preseason, no nothing, so we don't know what the heck the year's gonna look like. So we'll see is
Well, that's
like
another thing
the
too.
thing.
That's another thing too. The players they're not really warming up, so there's gonna be tons of injuries. You know that, right?
It's gonna be a bad September, no question.
There's gonna be tons and tons of injuries. Football is not gonna be football until maybe like late December.
Yeah, basically. But around
Yeah.
Thanksgiving-ish, that's probably when it starts to really pick up. But the September is gonna be a bad sighting. We're not gonna see good football for a while. I hope people realize
Yeah.
that.
I mean, what do you guys think about the Giants and the Jets not having any fans in the stands? It's gonna be like what? What are they gonna play? Like soundtracks of fans? I mean, what?
Bro,
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not surprised that's happening. I mean, pretty much, even though it's New Jersey, but you know how the governor of New Jersey and Cuomo, you know how they are. They like neck and necks. They're like, so we kind of figured that was gonna happen. So I'm not surprised though. I was looking forward to that Jets Patriot game in MetLife this year. We were trying to make it an annual thing, but
yeah, we were gonna go.
we were gonna go, but obviously we can't now.
Yeah, I mean, can we still? No, I don't think you can even tailgate anymore.
Nah,
They don't let
you
anybody.
can't even do that.
I drove by MetLife the other day. What was it? About 2 weeks ago. I was going to Jersey and Ghost Town.
Yeah, and then I'm nobody over there. Like even you try to go over there, take you in. It's you know how that shit goes. So
Oh,
anyway,
I
but
guess we gotta go to your local water river, the Patriot.
I mean for the Jet game, we can go to Jet Bar back to that Jet Bar again. That'd be pretty cool. So
That'd be cool.
that'd be pretty cool. Other than that, we appreciate you for taking time to talk to us and everything, especially this last minute and everything. We appreciate you. And like I said, this is fun. I like it. This is good. Thank you.
That's kind of awesome. That's awesome. I like this, guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So anyway, so we'll let you go, all right, brother? I'll let you go, all right? We'll talk later, all right?
All right, guys. It was a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you
Go.
very much.
No problem, bud.
Let's go Jets. All right, guys.
Buffalo.
The Buffalo Bills.
Our real football team, finally. All right. So, their off-season. Oh, the off-season grade for the Jets was it a D or a D minus? Something like that. It's trash. Anyway, they lost Shaq Lawson free agency and cornerback Kevin Johnson, which I believe their second or third string corner. They signed a lot of depth players. They didn't really gain anything significant because they don't need to. They have a really good roster already. They wound up signing Mario Addison and Quentin Jefferson to bolster that defensive interior because if they would have a weakness in their defense, it was the run. So they're getting guys to plug up there, and they did. I didn't write this down. I slacked, and they for some reason traded for cornerback Josh Norman.
Right.
Don't know why. I believe his PFF grade was like 44. Pretty bad. Don't know why he did it, but he did it. He's gonna be number 2 corner because they have Trey White, and Trey White's a beast. So, but at least they did make one good trade that was like sensational that broke the internet for like a couple days. They did trade for wide receiver Stephon Diggs, 78 grade off PFF, who was one of the best route runners in the game, one of the best deep threats in the game. Very, 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 very good. It cost him a first round pick only, and you already know he's worth more than that. So they drafted, starting the second round, they drafted AJ Epineza from Iowa, 84 grade.
Go Buckeyes.
And he had 90 grade in 2018. I don't know why he went down a little bit. Running back Zach Moss out of Utah, 91 overall grade. Wide receiver Gabriel Davis from UCF with a 79 grade. And quarterback Jake Fromm from Georgia, 86.5 grade. So they this team has the most familiarity and continuity coming into the league, meaning coming into the division, meaning that damn near everything's the same. Mm-hmm. They have the most consistency. Every other team in the division, maybe I guess the Jets, all changed for the most part. So they don't have to deal with the fact that there's no preseason because they basically have the same team. So that's why they'll probably, I don't remember what I wrote, we'll read off the predictions in a minute. They'll probably jump off the screen in the beginning because they don't have to work on much. They're the same team. They basically replaced everything they need to replace after losing Shaq Lawson and a little other players. And their receiving core is arguably the best in the NFL, actually. Mm-hmm. They have a guy who can run every specific route, whether it's short, medium, or deep. So you already know probably where this is going to be going. We said this the entire offseason. It's up to the quarterback. That is what makes this team soar or stay the same or plummet. Is on the quarterback. Everything else is set up for you. So we'll see what happens. They drafted a backup quarterback in Jake Fromm, who may be in about 2 or 3 years, if Josh Allen does make up his mind about being good or not, might challenge. I believe his comp was like Alex Smith, which just means he's smart and won't mess up. So, I mean, if he does that, a team like this who's built for success, maybe that's the type of quarterback they need. We'll find out 2 years to come. Mm-hmm. And their track to success, if their defense is at least the same, they're fine. If their run defense is literally a little bit better, they're even better. Again, Josh Allen has to be better for them to do anything. They probably have actually, if they want to use a really ridiculous rushing attack with Josh Allen included, Devin Singletary and Zach Moss in the backfield. They can do really creative things with the run there. And if their receiving core plays as they should, they are a wonderful, wonderful roster. So all on Josh Allen. Just literally that simple. Not much to talk about with Buffalo.
Yeah, pretty much everything's going to say.
Yeah. So, like I said, their defense was second in the NFL last year. Second to the team that we're going to mention next. They were absolutely sensational. So what they got to do is be the same and they're good. It's all on them. So my prediction for them is actually 10-6. 10-6. They're going to start off 4-0 and then they're going to drop one at Tennessee because Tennessee loves these type of games. And I actually have them actually defeating Kansas City at Buffalo at week 6. They can do it. They have the defense to do it. Kansas City's not going to go 16-0, so they have to lose some point. So going to Buffalo against a very hungry team who just lost the week before smells like a recipe for a loss against Kansas City, especially since they have a smash mouth defense. They'll be able to more than likely slow down that vertical passing attack with cojones. So I have this one of the few losses that Kansas City is going to have to me. And after that, they'll drop one against the Jets because that's Buffalo. After having an impressive, oh my God, Buffalo's here, they're going to do this, that, and the third, the Jets punch them in the face. Sounds like a Buffalo thing, right?
It does. I also have that 10-6 as well. I think them having the second toughest schedule in the league will test their, like I said, I think it'll come down to week 16 against the New England Patriots, where that will decide the division yet again. And I think that, they're going to be one of those teams that's going to be around, that the more punch you in the face. If you're not lucky, if you're not good enough, they will punch you in the face. And all that stuff like that. Basically. But like I said before, I gave Josh Allen a lot of credit last year in that Week 16 game against New England, where I thought that he showed up, and he completely screwed up for me in that playoff game against Houston. So it's like, you got to find the consistency from there. Like, he's able to, go up, then the Bills are going to be a serious problem. But right now, I have them at 10-6, tied for the AFC East. And
we'll get there, guys, next. To continue what I was going with, though, they'll be 7-4 at the bye week, winning at Arizona week 10. They'll drop 2 games in week 13 against San Francisco, and I won't spoil that. But I personally, I have the gut feeling that Josh Allen's not going to improve that much.
Okay.
Hence why, because if he improves, they're not 10-6. They're going to be 12, 13 games winning if he's good. I don't think it's gonna be that good. I think it's gonna be maybe a little bit better, but a little bit better is not enough. So they want to be 10-6 again. Now, what most of you listeners are waiting for.
Yes.
Your New England Patriots. So let's just get off the bad news off the bat, right? The 2020 offseason, a very, very, very dark time for New Englanders since probably before a lot of you were born. All right. They lost Tom Brady. He went Tampa.
We know this already.
Yeah, I have to say it's what happened. So yeah, he left. He had an 80-point grade, which was his lowest grade in the PFF. I think since their entire existence. I think they started in 06 or 07. So this is Tom Brady's lowest grade by far since 2013. I think he was a little bit above 80. So this is his lowest grade though. They lost Colin Van Noy, 84 grade. I already said that. They lost Jamie Collins, 75 grade, and Danny Shelton, 72 grade. Both went to Detroit, and Ted Karras, 66 grade, went to Miami. They also traded Deron Harmon, the closer, to Detroit, also 73 grade. And they also lost special teams coach Joe Judge. If you guys remember the special teams from last year, they were absolutely sensational. They were the second best unit of the team. Yes, and that is not even close. They literally scored. It felt like they scored as much as the offense did. It's true.
It's true.
And they also lost Nate Ebner to the New York Giants, who left with Joe Judge. Tier.
And obviously, Dante Sharknaggy retired.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I didn't write that down for a reason.
Yeah, I got to put it out there.
Yeah. Well, let's go with what we gained. We re-signed McCourty.
It's good.
80 grade. We franchise tagged Joe Tunein, and he's remained franchise tagged. I believe the deadline was last week. He's still franchise tagged. So that's $14 million down the drain. But we did free like a lot of cap room, so we have like $8 million to cap. Hey, something. And that includes the $14 million hit we taken from Joe Tunein. We signed Adrian Phillips from the Chargers with that 87 grade, but he did play under 300 snaps on defense. He's a really good special teamer though. But the little that he saw on the field, he did play well. And this defense that he's playing with now is better than the Chargers. Mind the Chargers have decent defense. So maybe he'll do some work. And maybe if Pat Chung, gets hurt, for the 45th time this decade, then he'll be able to help out. Wide receiver Damier Byrd from the Arizona Cardinals. I have no idea who that is, but he has 64 grade. And it's hard to find tape of him. And I saw a decent amount of Arizona tape. And I have never seen him play, so I have no idea what he is. We'll find out. And wide receiver Marquise Lee is 67 grade. And he's afraid that he's one of them players that if there was a preseason, he wouldn't last in the team. He'd be one of those cuts. But anyway, and defensive tackle from Tampa Bay, Bo Allen. Big boy. 72 grade, but he only had 179 snaps, but he's a run stuffer. Then we drafted Kyle Duggar, which no one knew about. 72 grade, 79 grade off of Lenore Ryan. I don't even know what division that is.
2.
That. Linebacker Josh Uche from Michigan, an 84.2 grade, and an ex-teammate and now reunited with our other edge rusher, Chase Winovich. Linebacker Anthony Jennings of Alabama with 86 grade. Tight end Defin Asiasi of UCLA with 79 grade. Tight end Dalton Keene of Virginia Tech with a 62.5 grade. And kicker Justin Rohrwasser of Marshall. He didn't have a grade because PFF doesn't like kickers if your name is not Justin Tucker. So I don't know what his grade is. But he was drafted because he supposedly is very good on bad weather kicks. So, judging you going to Boston, this is you're needed there. And the final addition to the team that happened 2 months after draft, Mr. Cameron Newton was signed with New England Patriots to finish off the beautiful, wonderful, or horrible, or nightmarish offseason. I don't know what you guys want to call it. That offseason that kept it off. Tracks for success. If the receivers stay healthy, that might help. All of them were hurt except Dorsett. He just sucked. But they all hurt. Edelman was hurt week 3 and never recovered from that rib injury because he couldn't stop playing because he was the only one that could, catch anything for a little while, even though he let leading drops. Sanu got hurt against Philly, and that, stupid punt return that hurt his ankle. Yeah, that happened. And N'Keal Harry missed like 3/4 of the season with an injury. So he came in during the meat of the schedule where all the good teams came in. So he didn't have time to develop any rapport with Tom Brady or had any time to just work himself into the roster, period. He just got thrown into the wolves, literal wolves. So yeah, they all hurt. And the tight end thing, well, I mean, that was probably the worst tight end core I've ever seen in my entire life of living. So it can't get any worse. It's like Miami's roster. That's how bad our tight end core was. Mind you, Miami had a better tight end in Gesicki. That's how bad our tight end core was. It can't get any worse. So drafting those two guys and possibly, because they're in the works of maybe trying to get Njoku, which I thought was gonna happen. They can't get worse. So they'll be better there. If David Andrew is at least 80% of himself, this offensive line will be a lot better. Judging if they can live without Skarnecchia. If the secondary is at least the same, they were the best in the NFL, so just be that, and they're good. The biggest key in defense is the development of Chase Winovich. There are no edge rushers and edge defenders in the team right now. He is it. So he needs to be good. You need to step up now. Otherwise, we're going to have a repeat of 2017 when the Patriots had Cassius Marsh. And I think if you guys remember week 1 against Kansas City, if you remember that game, that's what's going to happen if they don't have an edge rusher or a guy who can set the edge. Kareem Hunt, all he ran was stretches and freaking tosses, and he got 70-yard touchdowns. Yeah, they need an edge guy. So Winovich needs to step up and step up now. There is no next year. There's no. It has to happen right now. I can almost argue Uche needs to do the same thing. You gotta play now. Otherwise, you're gonna get ran on all day. Doesn't matter how good secondary is. If all they gotta do is hand off the ball, who cares how good Stephon Gilmore is? It's just that simple. Rohrwasser needs to at least replace Gostkowski. At the very least. And we know how we feel about Gostkowski. But he has to at least replace that. I think for a rookie, they'll take that. Because this is going to be a defensive team. And defensive teams usually have those slugfests where it's going to be like 16, 20, 20, 18, 20, 21 games, 24, 20, stuff like that. Field goals are at premium. So he needs to make them. Otherwise, the Patriots are going to lose a lot of close games if he doesn't make field goals. He needs to play. He needs to play now. Okay. It's just that simple. And Newton and McDaniels make magic.
I think this is going to test McDaniels this year. I think we're going to see, how he's always touted for these head coaching jobs. I think this is going to really test him and see how good he really is as an offensive coordinator. You have former MVP in Cam Newton. Obviously, this will be the first time you've had someone who, with a skill set like his, that you can be like, okay, we can make something happen. I'm not counting Tim Tebow because he was pure garbage. I'm not gonna talk about that. He's even there. So
he drafted him, by the way.
Exactly, he's drafting him. That's what I'm saying. So we're gonna see how he goes from there. I do believe. Now, question is this: people with Cam Newton signing, people forget about Jarrett Stidham. What happened with Jarrett Stidham now? He sat a year behind Tom Brady, but that one game he played, even though he threw a pick six, people thought he was trash after that. Do you see? Is he going to be the future afterward, or will we have Cam for a few more years, or whatever? Depending on there's certainty in the quarterback position, what's going to happen there. So we're not sure 100% if Cam's going to start week 1. We're not 100% sure.
Again, especially since there's no preseason.
Yes, there's no preseason.
It really is a question.
So will Jarrett Stidham get the start because he's familiar with the system, or will we go with Cam, depending on how they'll do it now? We don't know what's going to happen. That's why the preseason is so important. Now you're not going to have this. Okay, what do you do now? You're basically learning them to fly. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be very interesting how he's able to maneuver that offense. Are you going to have it Cam, both of them in the game? For it's Wildcat formation. I know about the Wildcat. It's trash. I hate it. But, how are you going to make this offense a lot better than it was last year? Last year's offense, last year and your play calling last year, I was like, what are you doing? I was like, yo, what are you really doing?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty similar to Miami. What's up with the tight end core? It can't get worse than what you saw last year, especially in the downstretch in December and the playoff game. It can't get worse than that. So with Cam, again, we're always going to assume in these analysis that he's going to be healthy.
Yes.
So if he's healthy, judging there is no preseason, I still think he's going to get the start. I think he's familiar with the way things work according to our system. He ran a similar version of it in 2018, hence why people think that he was so good before he got hurt, and why a lot of like good analysts. Sorry, there's a big noise back there. That's a little alarming.
Yes, very sorry about that, guys. We'll cut it out.
Yeah. It would definitely cut it because I was train thought. He ran a similar system in Carolina in 2018. So that's why a lot of like, I don't want to say professional analysts, but a lot of like, I guess football bookworms, we'll call them. Football nerds, they really think that Cam's going to fit the system just fine. Plus, this is Bill Belichick at the end of the day. So he should be fine. And we're going off of this assuming he is the starter. And assuming he's healthy.
Yeah, I also want to point out that last year I said that Sony Michel was going to have a big year last year. Obviously, didn't happen with the offensive line troubles now. I personally want to see Sony Michel have a good year this year. I feel that everything going on, confidence wasn't where it was supposed to be at. And it happens. It happens when you're used to doing certain things. And it's like, when certain things are taken away, you don't have that offensive line that can make holes for you. Instead, you have the turnstile, which we're not going to say his name, the blocking for you, which is completely awful. So we'll see how the running game is able to rebound. I do expect them to be a running team this year, even with the return of David Andrews. We'll see. We go from there. But
he needs to be healthy.
He has to be. If not, they're gonna have a tough time. If they can't establish the run, they're gonna be in trouble. They're gonna be in trouble early, especially when you have to. Even though you're playing, I think they played Miami second early this year. I believe so.
Week 1.
Yes, week 1. Like I said, they have confidence already. So the last thing you want to do, they beat you in Foxborough last year, so what's stopping them from doing it again? You're playing against a team early that's hungry and ready to beat you and ready to take the reins of the AFC East. They have the toughest schedule in the league right now. Right now, a lot, like you said, mentioned before, as far as with the kicking situation, a lot of those toss-up games, those trap games like Denver or even Las Vegas or whatever, could really hurt us if we're not functioning on offense. So, that's just my thing on it.
So I have him 10-6.
I did too.
I have him 10-6 playing the following week. In other words, they're going to be in the playoffs. They will be winning this division still.
Yes.
I warmed up to having Cam Newton as the quarterback of the Patriots going to do that solid. I'm not necessarily saying that I like it. I'm not saying that it's going to make a big difference, because to me it's not. But it's a healthy Cam. With a healthy Cam, things will work. I just don't see it being any different from last year. I think a one and done is heading toward New England's faces. But at the end of the day, Bill Belichick made the playoffs without Tom Brady for the first time. So that's what basically is going to happen. So I have them starting off 3-2 before a week 6 bye. The rest of the division got a week 11, but New England got a week freaking 6. Make no dang sense. Thank you, schedulers and Goodell, of course. I have them losing to Seattle, going to Seattle week 2, and going to Kansas City week 4. So you already see how brutal that is starting off, especially since we have a new quarterback. So, but things will pick up and they'll wind up being 7-4 heading into December. only losing to San Francisco, and even though this one really tossed me, really gave me a big toss. Week 10 versus Baltimore. I got a feeling that that's going to be a trap game for them. I got a feeling. And it's prime time too. At New England. I think by then Cam will be implemented into the system very well. That's going to be a lot better game than we originally thought. Then again, we didn't know Cam Newton was a quarterback when we were looking through the schedule when it came out. But then it's going to be a big, brutal road stretch into December. I think they'll lose at Los Angeles Rams and then going to Miami because they're supposed to lose against Miami once. That's the thing. So, because they have to be at Chargers in the same spot, but still that's a Thursday night game, I believe, against the Rams.
Yeah.
It's a really tough road stretch.
All 4 games rest, yeah.
Yeah, really bad. So they'll lose 2 out of 3. Give them 2 losses there. It's really bad. That's really messed up. But then after that Miami lost, they'll be heading to Foxborough for the division showdown against Buffalo, just like 2019. And just like 2019, New England will win. I think Buffalo won't be able to shake off New England again. Get swept by them again. And they're going to be probably, I could say, the same type of games again. They're not going to be able to figure out how to beat them.
But you have them sweeping the Bills?
The Bills? Yep.
Wow. See, my tendency is a little bit different. I had them losing in Buffalo and then winning one of their. I think that they will end up both finishing 10-6, but they'll get the strength of schedule tiebreaker.
Remember, I don't have Josh Allen making a big leap or making a leap at all.
Truly.
I have him being almost the same. He's going to get destroyed by Gilmore in defense again, and that's what's going to win us the game. And it's going to happen both times. He's going to get locked up both times, and that's why.
It's very interesting. But I do think one of those trap games, even though at 10-6, I won't be surprised if it's 9-7. I do believe Denver will be a trap game for them.
No question.
I do absolutely believe that they can go over there, and it's in Foxborough too, that they can go into Foxborough and beat them. Because, like I said, they're not us to lose. They just go out there. So watch out for that Denver Broncos game. That's a game I'm definitely going to be. It's definitely not something we should look over. They're going to be a really good team, a sleeper team in the AFC in the AFC conference. So yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much.
If Stidham winds up playing, then New England to me is going 8, 9, or 7. They're gonna lose a game or 2 more. Than with Cam Newton.
To me, it wouldn't make a difference, honestly. To me, it wouldn't make a difference.
I don't think they'll go 10-6 with us.
Because I had that position 10-6 even before Cam got there. To me, nothing's changed.
It's because I really think Cam Newton and that run game is gonna make a big difference in an offense. You can't run that type of offense with Jarrett Stidham. Therefore, you have to rely on the receivers more. Yeah. And this is not an elite quarterback. This is Jarrett Stidham. This is some guy. So I don't think they're gonna lose a couple more games with him. So Cam Newton, especially for immediate success, Cam Newton is not 100% the answer. Are they gonna get signed afterwards? I doubt it. But we'll see about that. But yeah, the AFC East is gonna be more of the same.
Yeah.
Sorry guys. Nothing changes yet. And it's not from bias. I really dug into the numbers. I really dug into the tape. And I really don't believe in Josh Allen right now. That's the X factor. Since he's not going to change and the defense of New England is not really going to change, why would them losing to New England change? It's up to him. The defense is not going to change. Buffalo's still really good. Except, again, New England will have a better running game. Their Achilles heel. So why would that change? So that's why I have New England 10-6. Funny, 10-6, 6-10, 6-10. That's my division. Hilarious.
10-6, 7-9, 5-11.
With New England winning it again.
Yes.
But again, to me, going one and done though.
They'll be at least a 3 seed, which is scary because with the new playoff system, the new playoff format, I can see it one and done too. Depending on who they play, they have to match up against. Who knows? They may have to match up against Buffalo
Buffalo again or Denver
or Denver, and that right there is scary already. So yeah, unless
or a Tennessee again.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Or even the Indianapolis Colts. You know what I'm saying? That the AFC South is supposed to be really good this year too, but we'll get to that soon when we get there. But other than that, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for listening. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartradio, Google Play Radio, Stitcher Radio, at Podcast Dynasty on Twitter. Remember, we have a Facebook group, Sports Dynasty Podcast on Facebook, and we're on Instagram at Sports Dynasty Podcast. As always, we appreciate you all. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon. Peace, love.